How many of us like rain? I'm sure many of us will agree. How many of us like rainy days? That, on the other hand, may be a problem for some of you who are planning to venture out later on today. Rain seems to have a sense of nostalgia. It's associated with memories. You have great songs based on rain. But rainy days, on the other hand, can have a tinge of it being romantic and yet for all exciting, but it can also be depressing and lethargic. When you think of rain, what comes to your mind? These are a few pictures that I can imagine. Flooded streets, paper boats, the earthy smell that comes along with rain, umbrellas, different colors, different types, favorite snacks that go along with the ambience of the environment. But when you do think about rain, you can't forget the rainbow. You have to think about the rainbow, and today we want to talk about rainy days and rainbows. Did you know that rainbows contain around 1 million colors that can't even be traced by the human eye? We can just about see a few of them. Many days in our life seem like the rainy days, gloomy, there's not much to do, not much hope, and it really begins to weigh us down. And at these times, we can turn to God's word for encouragement and remember what He tells us in Genesis chapter 9, the whole chapter about how Noah and God had come through the flood, and God had established a covenant between Him and Noah. And we can draw much encouragement from this. The first reminder that we have about the rainbow, and when we look at it, is this: that it's a sign of God's protection. In Genesis chapter 9 verse 11 says, "I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy all the earth." It's a sign of God's protection. And this is a reminder that God protects us on the most trying days of our life. His protection is always around us. The second reminder that we can get when we see a rainbow is that it's God's promise. In verse 12 we read, God said, "This is a sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come." A covenant is a strong word. It's not just a flimsy promise, but it is a strong decision, an act that is taken between two parties, and it's lifelong and lasting. And God promises that He will be with us and He will not destroy the earth. Destruction will not come. So I want to encourage you, on the most gloomy days, in the dark seasons of your life, God's promise is constant and we can hold on to His words. The third reminder for us when we look at a rainbow is that it signifies God's power. In verse 15, God says, "I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life." And this signifies God's power, His protection, and the promise that He is going to be with us. So dear friends, may this be an encouragement. Whichever season of your life you are in, and no matter how gloomy or dark it may be, and no matter how many clouds may be hovering over you, we just want you to know that God's protection, His promise, and His power will always surround you. Have a great day.